I think that people who talk about AI, the coaches, the influencers, never really had a real business. They've never had to make payroll. They've never had a lease that's very expensive and it's over their heads. They've never had to deal with the micro nuances of staffing. I had two franchise stores, supplement stores, Elite Supplements, Maroubra and Randwick. Also had a third independent store. This taught me a lot. I think at my peak, I've had about 17 staff under me at any given time, and that's including my other businesses. With all that staff, all those overheads, all those mouths to feed, I have never had my business run as well as I do now with zero staff using AI. And this is the difference with understanding the business world and merging it with AI into the seamless experience. Now, everyone tells you the conventional way to grow is you need better hires. You need more hires. You have to get the right people on board. Well, what does that mean? How does that look like? Let's say no one's really taught you how to hire. You go into the interview process, someone comes in with a resume, it looks okay. Sit down with them. They seem to speak well enough. Give them a chance. See out of the page of people who comes to you, how many of them are maybe a little bit better or a little bit worse, and you start weighing up their personalities versus their experiences, right? The reality is you don't know how good they are until about 3 months in. You can set them KPIs, you can set them tasks. They can even kind of perform a little bit because you have to understand, for the most part, people won't show their true selves for about 3 months, and then you start to really work them out. By 3 months, you have already wasted 3 months worth of payroll and 3 months of your business's time. And God willing, it went in a better way than it did in a negative way. Problem is, guys, you're also having to deal with the whole legality aspect of hiring, which is another thing these AI coaches will never talk to you about because they don't understand it. They've never had to do it, right? So what I want to do in this video, to all you people that are looking to use AI, I am looking to take a big burden off your shoulders. And that burden is the legality aspect of hiring, the constant onboarding of hiring people, which is in itself very difficult. There are things that your business needs to run on that have to be consistent and cannot be dependent on a hire, whether or not this particular hire had a personal event happen to him, or they're really good or really bad, because these changes to your businesses means that particular role will in itself change. The context of the role will become slightly different, irrespective of how well you train them for your own business model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of quick and easy steps you guys can use for your businesses today, implementing AI to simplify your lives just that little bit for you to have a breather, get some revenue under the table, and start making better choices and maybe making a type of hire that you want to hire, not that you need to hire. So most people today will use AI, if they're already using AI, in almost two separate categories. And one of those categories is the way 95% of people use it, and that last 5% use it in a much better way. The 95% they use AI, they use Claude, ChatGPT, whatever LLM they like, as effectively a better Google. You know, hey, chat, what does this do for me? Or chat, can you summarize me a post for Instagram so I can put it in? Hey, chat, can you look up X, Y, and Z for me? You know the drill, right? It's easy, it's quick, but it is a waste of the AI's talent, really. It's not something that is improving your output, your effectiveness. The other 5%, they use it to build systems. And to understand how to build those systems requires an understanding of the system that you are building within, which in itself is a skill. It's a time-consuming skill that you would need to pick up. Now, I've said this in my previous videos, and I'm going to keep saying it in every video I make. The number one thing that most business owners do not have is spare time. They want a problem solved for them without them doing more work. want to see a revenue increase, but they don't want to see them having more on their plate. And that is completely normal. So I'm going to show you a method that is going to sit comfortably between both worlds, where you're not going to have an overloaded plate with extra work. It's going to be a system that you can implement today. It's going to work for you. And over time, you can build on this system to improve your own life. So the first thing that you have to do, and this seems almost counterintuitive, but you can either get one of your staff members, someone in a senior position to do this for you if they know your business well enough. Ideally, you would be doing it yourself. What you need to do is catalog how your business runs. You need to be able to write down what is the nuts and bolts of whatever it is that you do. Now, I don't mean for you, if you're a plumber, write down, I fix roofs and I fix toilets. Like, that is a given. Of course you do. What makes you different? How do you have a different edge on your niche? What is special about your particular method that your customers are coming to you for? This is what we call a context file. This is what we want to build about you, your brand, your business, your ethics, your morals, etc., etc. It is your business blueprint. It is your thumbnail. It is what makes you stand out. You need to build out this document. Why do you need to build out this document? Because once you build it, what you can do is you can tell the AI to gather context from it, and that will help it build something around your business model that is actually useful. So I'm going to give you guys a really simple example, and this is something that a lot of you that are looking into AI probably have already seen. You would have seen a post, and this post would have been some guy, he does a face like this, and then he puts in a prompt into Claude, and it's generate me X image, the load up Higgs field, and it'll pop out some random image, right? That, it doesn't work that way. It will do an image, but it doesn't quite work like that because you have no context to give the AI, and they're basically lying to you, right? They're basically lying about this particular system because they're not really telling you what goes into it. That being said, that prompt that they are doing with the base, it can work if you have your context files written up. Who you are, what are your brand colors, what are your ethoses, what are some examples of things that you like that are aesthetically pleasing if it was an image. All these little micro references will build an AI system that actually does a job for you. This alone will save your social media time at least half an hour a day. You can literally put that prompt in, be like, well, generate this prompt, and it will do it properly. Okay, let's say you've never written a prompt before or given it a context file. You're probably thinking, well, I'm jumping on this and I want to keep it as easy as possible. And that's completely fair enough. When you make these files and you don't know how to prompt properly, genuinely the best and easiest way to do is just talk to your AI. So, for example, you're building your business concept file, and what you want to do is you want to explain to it what a day looks like to you. You can literally say, hey Claude, hey chat, whatever the fuck you're using, this is my day. I've had a customer today, they call me about issue X. I respond with answer Y. Here are my deals, my structures. This is what happens if I run into a client that wants to push, but they want to spend more money. This is what happens if the client is X amount of kilometers away and I need to drive more, so there's a petrol fee. Whatever the context file may be, whatever you can feed it extra will give it better output, better ability to build around your business, right? So, for example, in one of my businesses, we're not allowed to talk about performance results. So, for example, I can have my product here, and I know that the herbs in there have historically done X, Y, and Z. In certain countries, I know that if I say that, I could be liable for something, right? So I have to word it in a very nuanced way, which is then digestible, and that digestibility also then works on meta ads and TikTok ads, etc. So that is a micro nuance. It's super important. And these micro nuances exist in every business, every category. Maybe, for example, if you're a plumber, there's there's a certain rule that your state has about making roofs in a certain way, or whatever these little things that you have in your business that are important to your business needs and functions. You have to add that in there. This is what builds a good context file versus a bad context file. Now, After that, step two is when you feed it to the AI, and I'm going to give you guys a couple of prompts down below so you can copy and paste it so you can kind of see how it works, right? So what you want to take that document, open Claude GPT and say it is. I'll put this prompt and description so you can copy it directly. So here it is. It is. Here's how I currently handle process. I want you to turn this into a detailed operational brief that an AI system could follow to do this for me. Ask me any clarifying questions you need before writing it. And then you have your conversation with it. As you have your conversation, it will then finish the conversation after a series of prompts, and that will be your file. What I like to do, and what a lot of people don't do, is I ask it to rate the questions as an interview question. I want them to self-assess themselves out of 10 and ask what does the language learning model, the AI, think about the questions it has asked me, and does it believe those questions have gathered enough context for me to build the best business file possible. What it does, it's kind of a little trick that makes it self-assess, and also it helps it move itself forward without you having to ask it certain things. Because once again, the way these AI systems work is effectively they can only take information that exists. So if you're not feeding it the information that it needs and it can't find it on the internet, then it doesn't know. So this way, what it does is it tries looking at different avenues to find the answer to. So it's a nuanced process, but once you guys kind of understand the process, self-assessment becomes a real little hack. So what step three happens, or what step three is, test it against a real example. So take the brief to products, feed it a real situation from your business, see where it breaks, correct it, feed it another one. So let's say you gave it a situation about a complaining customer. What kind of response would the customer get from you, the business owner, or whoever's working for you? And then see if that response comes out of the AI and if you're happy with the alignment. And then you can kind of tailor it back from there. And from there, guys, ladies and gentlemen, you've built your first business file. So, guys, a little bit of real talk right now. Right now, the businesses that are building these files for themselves, they're going to be ahead of the game. They're going to be so ahead of the game because they're building something that is sustainable irrespective of who works for them. They're building a permanent employee that they have constant function over, and they can upgrade this particular employee as the systems upgrade with them. The businesses that are relying on the old school method of hiring, training, and whatnot are effectively already, in my opinion, finished, but in the next couple of years more so. And I'm going to give you guys an example of a friend of mine. His business was actually at one point super successful. They were doing about 120,000 AUD at one point a month, right? So really good turnover. But the environment that the business was in a different state. It was better staffing, better country was in a better state, and all these other little factors came in. And then what happened was he started to get a staffing rollover. One came in, next one came out. One came in, next one came out. The customers lost the bond and the experience that they had in the store, and as a result, it started to lose revenue quite quickly and significantly. So he's kind of stuck in a situation. So I'm doing some consulting for him because I'm trying to teach him that moving forward now, you can't rely on these young people coming in to know what they're doing, because the old days of a staff for life is gone. That's probably 10, 15 years ago now, even more. Now these young kids coming in, they're just next job, next job, next job, next job. They don't care about their resumes anymore. So the businesses that are not keeping up are going to be left behind, and some of them are already left behind and are having to close down as a result. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Subscribe if you want to learn about these systems from real experience. The videos I make are not polished. I sometimes stutter over my own words. I sometimes say things that, or lead on, I talk about my experiences because I have painfully lost a lot of money learning, opening, closing And the conclusion that I reached is if you're not in control of your business and if you don't have almost a dashboard like understanding of what is going on day to day in this day and age, you are going to get left behind. So the systems that I'm teaching people, that I'm showing people, are also the systems that I'm selling. I'm showing people how to implement and how to stay afloat, because one thing that really is starting to bother me is my country that I used to live in, Australia. Businesses are closing left and right. And part of the reason is staffing. Another part is the insane taxation, the government overreach, the constant regulations. There's always something. It seems small business is constantly under attack. And it's time to fight back. And how do you fight back is you take control and you improve the processes that you have, because most business owners, they get into this thing to have some freedom, put their hard time, their money into it to get some sort of outcome. But what is the point of this outcome? Let's say you spend $250,000 on your business, and maybe in 2 3 years you'll see a little bit of return. You won't double it, maybe a little bit of return. And look, you're better off going to the casino and dropping it either on red or black. You got a better chance of getting it back. And I do not condone gambling, but unfortunately, in some countries, the sad state of affairs is it has gotten that bad. So systems like this, systems like mine, are designed to alleviate that stress, show you where you're going, have a smaller investment for a better output so you can start living again. That is the Starfless system. Guys, I really hope you learned something. If you did, let me know down below in the comments what your number one stress is as a small business owner. And if you are a startup and you're just starting out for the first time, let me know what challenges you're running into, because nobody talks about starting a business. Everyone wants to work with the guy that's doing 10, 15, $20,000 a month, because none of them have started the business themselves. So let me know what you guys are feeling, what you guys are facing, and I'll be happy to help. Please subscribe down below and turn the notification bell on so you can see when my next videos are on. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.